What's up, YouTube? My name is Uncle Smokey and this is Uncle Smokey Stock Trades. Before I start this video, I would like to say I am not a financial advisor and this is not financial advice. So please take what I say with a grain of salt and do your own DD. Today we're going to talk about ticker symbol MMAT, Metamaterials Inc. We're going to break down the TA, we're going to look at the options chain, we're going to go over Ortex and Fintel real quick, and at the end, of course, my prediction. And somewhere in the middle there, I'm going to do a little bit of a breakdown on some DD that was given to us yesterday by James A. Vincent 1 on Twitter. And again, I always stress, go like and follow these guys on Twitter. They are loaded with DD. James A. Vincent and Mark Miller, both on Twitter. Today we broke like immediately out of the gates really high, really fast. I don't know what really contributed to this. I mean, we did have Citigroup, which we'll get into a little bit later, open up a new position, so some of this could have been that. But the share amount that they bought, and again, we'll get into it later, isn't significant enough to create this kind of volume. But anywho, right after about the first 15 minutes went through, you'll notice that the shorts did take over and started shoving the stock down pretty hard, pretty fast. And they did get to that bottom of $3.45. Like I said, I kind of figured it would come down this far today. And the reason being is because the way it left off yesterday in that downward channel. So I kind of knew we were going to slip down here. And again, this is just off of history and the way stocks move in a general basis. Now, with that being said, we did find that bottom and we did bounce, and we respected the bounce, and we did bring it up here into the 360, 365 channel for about an hour, roughly hour and a half. No, heck, actually, it looks like about 2 hours before slipping back down to this lower channel where I figured we'd probably trend for the vast majority of the day. Now, and of course, ending at 358. Now, we did all of this on pretty low volume. In fact, we only had about 11 million in volume today. The vast majority of the movement, the vast majority of the volume, I should say, did come in the very beginning hours of the day, about first hour and a half, and then petered off. So, with that being said, it does look like shorts decided they were going to try and beat it down again and did not succeed. In fact, we finished green for the 4th day in a row, guys. Congratulations, all you meta heads. 4 days in a row. Big green, big win. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and keep moving forward. I want to move over to the 5-minute chart and show you that we are moving in an upward channel. In fact, if you notice my purple line here, it's moving up. And we're respecting it. Now, like I did say yesterday, with anytime you have a run of green, expect a consolidation day or a pullback day. You can consider basically what today is that. We started at 355 and ended at 358, virtually flat, not even a full % up. So consider that consolidation, especially on a macro scale. Now, I did say I want to go over the options chain, and I'm going to, but there's a couple other things I want to look at while we're in TD. So first, let's start here. We did have an implied volatility of 187 today. It did go down from 190 yesterday, which is great. And as I have said before, this invites new investors, which we did see today. And every time the IV comes down or stays low, you'll notice that we get new investors. And again, we're going to go over that here in just a few minutes. But before we get there, calls, 16,000, puts 2,100. That's about 90% calls, 10% puts. A very bullish indicator, of course. And here's the other thing I want to show you on here. So this is what I was going off of my earnings, and it's very easy to be mistaken. I did not notice that it said unconfirmed. So as of now, I'm still waiting on earnings just like everybody else is. And I do apologize. It's a little bit misinforming here. So best I can say is all we can do is just hurry up and wait. Seems like the situation at hand a lot of the times in the stock market. The other thing I wanted to show you on here is the chart. Now, I pulled it out and you're going to see that it's about 8-9 days. You're going to see what's happening here is what's called a cup and handle. Okay, and this is going to kind of indicate that the stock needs to make up its mind and decide where it's going to go. And of course we know that's going to be in the upward trajectory. Now, I'm saying that being bullish, it can break down, and in the past, in some stocks it has. But typically, overall, the ratio is it's more bullish than it is bearish for a cup and handle pattern, and typically breaks in the upwards position. So I just wanted to point that out, that we do have one forming here. Ignore this. This was that really volatile hour we had, 2 hours we had there a couple days back. I'm not going to include this in the chart as far as it goes because it was basically a wash. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and move on to the old intranet and see what Ortex has to say. Let's hit update. All right, so Ortex updated. Looks like the utilization didn't really change at all today. Cost to borrow really didn't change too much, came down a smidgen. Days to cover up. Shares on loan up. Overall, the short interest change went down, and to be expected. We're on a roll in as far as green days go. But again, like I've said before, it doesn't make sense for the days to cover to go up, the shares on loan to go up, the utilization to go up, and the short interest to come down. It just doesn't make sense. A lot of these numbers don't jive, and you know, it's, I don't know. It is what it is, I guess. Now, the other thing I want to point out is it looks like we're getting a big update here. So, exchange reported short interest, the last was reported was 14.22 million. Now, if I do remember correctly, yesterday it said 11.65 million. So it looks like we're getting those numbers in from the NASDAQ here pretty quick. And that means we should start seeing some failures to deliver show up in here in the next couple of days as well. So I'm going to stay posted on that. Just letting y'all know that the short interest, according to the NASDAQ, has gone up. We're at about 14.22 million according to the most recent update. Now, with that being said, it's not all updated, so it's not all right yet. Okay, Fintel. New buyers, and like I said earlier, low implied volatility means new investors. Citigroup. Now, grant you, it's only a 3,000 share position, but it is a share position, not a call, not a put. It's a share position from one of the largest conglomerates out there. All right, they've got 166 billion in, I want to say assets here. I got it up here. There it is. Yeah, 166 billion with 6,000 current positions. What? The other one that joined in today was Cypress Capital Management with about half the shares. There was no sellers today, last I checked. Let's go ahead and hit that refresh button. Nope, no sellers today. Not a single one. Moving on. Short interest change. Look there. Short interest percent to float. 8%. 14 million shares. It's updating. Fintel and Ortex are just about in line with each other right now. 55% on the short squeeze score, and you'll notice that throughout the day today, there was a return and then a borrow, and a return and a borrow, and it was all very minimal. And again, this is just on one leading prime broker, but again, looking at Ortex, it shows just about the same thing, almost flat. Now, let's move on to the short sale transaction. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not there yet. Let's go back down here. Short borrow fee rate went down a little bit. And again, we can expect for the fee rate to come down when you're having green days, but that's generally when things are opening up too. Like, you know, the shares on loan would be coming down and the utilization would be coming down and everything else. So, I don't know. I don't look too far into that. All right, so here is our most recent update. Here's today. So we know we had 11 million in volume. 5.5 million of that was through the FINRA. A lot of more of that would have been through the CBOE and PSX, but we haven't been updated yet. But you're showing you're at about 50% ratio here. Expect to see about 50 to 55 in the end number. And again, that means that they are buying shorts. They're selling short positions into the market, and they're shorting the stock. And they're doing it, you know, kind of exponentially. It's pretty amazing, and you're going to see that here. So I did take all of these numbers from yesterday, and I did plug them into our worksheet that we did get off of Terry. And so for the 9th, as you can see, there's a lot here. 300 total transactions yesterday. Now remember, we went up yesterday. We finished 7.5% up. In the green. 300 transactions for a total of 1.25 million shares shorted. Grand total of $4.5 million. And they couldn't even shove it down, not once. They tried. They failed. They are increasing their short position day after day after day, and we are getting stronger. the company is starting to trend upwards. And that will continue to happen as long as we have new buyers. And that is probably the most important thing that you need to know about all of this. A stock will only go up as long as you have these guys. These new buyers, these new investors, and then the old money that's already been there investing more, buying more shares, buying more calls. The retail investor, buying, holding, and buying. That's the only way the stock stays green and keeps moving forward, is having constant momentum forward. And of course, good PR will create that. And that's kind of what we're waiting on. And again, I keep saying earnings isn't what I'm waiting for. What I'm waiting for is the PR that is to follow. I really believe that once they give their earnings report, that Q2 earnings report, I really think George is going to come out with some really big news. Hopefully it's going to have to do with some of the stuff I'm getting ready to talk about right now. With that being said, I'm about halfway through my video. I need everybody to go ahead and put their tinfoil hat on, because we're about to take some of the stuff that is speculative and try and make a little sense of it and connect some dots, okay? All right, so yesterday, James A. Vincent 1 put out this DD. And it's pretty interesting because he is basically trying to tie Meta with VW. And I think I can help him do that. And here's how. So, we already know that Meta and Covestro are partners, correct? Well, the one thing that some people probably don't know is that Covestro has already partnered with Volkswagen. They made a plastic ring that goes around their sunroofs. They did, as far as I know, with several companies, actually. So, to look at this and say that Covestro, Meta, and Volkswagen could possibly become a thing, it's very believable, and here's why. So Volkswagen is currently working on the EV sector, and they've teamed up with Ford, which we can see right here. Ford and Volkswagen signed an agreement for joint projections on commercial vehicles, EVs, autonomous driving. They're working together in this. Knowing that Covestro has already made stuff for Volkswagen, BMW, Daimler, Chrysler, things like that, and that they produce the Bayfoil HX200, which is currently being used in the Ceres Holographics products, which shows right here that Covestro and Ceres Holographics announced strategic partnership as of February 1, 2021. This is recent news, guys, right here. One name, two name, Bayfoil HX. Boom. Okay, so we've connected Covestro with this Ceres and Bayfoil HX with their holographic windows and stuff. Okay, so we got this cool holographic window here. They're also doing it with dashboards where it would project onto like your windshield. Okay, so we've connected those. Move on a little bit here. So it would be reason to believe that Volkswagen would take a past partnership with a company that they trust and produce a new partnership through, if you remember the lot network from the other day, which I'll put a link to this video in my at the end of this video, the lot network, which houses companies' patents and gives the ability for these patents to be spread throughout the network and given to other companies for the ability to make contact and use of said patents. So right here, we know Lot Network holds Covestro as 2017, Metamaterials Inc. 2020, which we do believe is what led to this. Okay. Now look here, the Lot Network, Volkswagen, Ford, and I have already looked into this. I've also seen Toyota. I've seen General Motors. I've seen Nissan. I've seen many different tech companies that would be able to utilize our foil, our actual technologies. Okay, so as of now, all I'm trying to do is just link Volkswagen to the entire Covestro / Meta / Ceres hologram thing, and I think I've done that. So we'll start way back here and go quick. We've got Volkswagen, Covestro, Meta. We've got Covestro, Volkswagen, Volkswagen, Ford, And of course, we have Covestro with their Bayfoil proof here. Okay, so with that being said, this brings me to the very last part of the video, and I hope I didn't confuse anybody with this. All I was trying to do was link a little bit of what James was saying in his DD and showing that this is not only absolutely possible, but very, very, very likely. Okay, very likely. Now, let's move on to the very end, and that's what everybody waits for, the prediction. So, here's what I see happening. Obviously, we take the aftermarket with a grain of salt. And we know this because look what happened last aftermarket, and coming into this morning. We were up really high, and we literally came all the way down to where we opened or closed yesterday at 355. So, with that being said, tomorrow I am bullish. I am crazy bullish, and that is because of history. Typically, Wednesdays are our big days. So here's what I see. I definitely still see that morning drop. We usually see a morning drop no matter what. After the morning drop, expect the stock to bounce. It's going to bounce, and hopefully it's going to test like the 355, 365 range real quick, and then move right to 375. From 375, expect for it to bounce a couple of times, come up, test 380. Again, it's going to bounce probably a little bit, and then shoot. I mean, once it mounts this 380 line and we get a really good test of that 380 line and a mount and it holds, expect for a run. 4 is the next big level of resistance, and that's where I see it going tomorrow is about 4, bouncing off of it and finishing in the positive in the 390s range, and I'm crossing my fingers on that. I'm really hoping so, but that's what I'm seeing. Tomorrow, however, if it does bull down, if it goes bear, look for it to kind of just trade sideways. I think we'll still finish positive. I don't think we'll see a whole lot of red tomorrow. If we do, don't sweat it. Like I've said, we've got to cool off. We're having green day after green day after green day. We've got to cool off. We don't want this thing to go parabolic without having some sort of stability. All right? So, with that being said, I hope I didn't confuse anybody. If I did, I apologize. Go ahead and blame James because I had to figure this out, man. I had to connect the dots. He's really smart, and I know he did it too. So, like, subscribe, do what you got to do. Comment below. Send it off to your friends, all that good jazz. I will see you tomorrow. Hopefully by then we'll have heard something on earnings. Peace.